are derived from those LiDAR profiles. Okay? These first four here, okay, are derived directly from those profiles. And there are software packages of various sorts that turn those profiles into metrics. And as I mentioned, there's hundreds of them. Here we used a stepwise approach to select the four most important metrics for mapping biomass. Additionally, we also incorporated ecoregion because we were trying to develop a model for the entire country at the same time. And as I showed you in the previous slide, and as you well know, there's a great deal of ecosystem variability across the country. We wanted to make sure we accounted for that in our model. So this is a relatively preliminary model. You can see it has some scatter to it, but it has an R squared of 0.74. And this requires a little bit of additional work, but I'm actually quite pleased with it, and I'm quite pleased with it because it is based on a number of different plot sources. It is based on a number of different plot sizes. It is based on allometric information from a number of different sources. There are a lot of things that are going into this model. Ordinarily, we would like to base a model like this only on one plot source, like the INFIS, for example. Okay, but we needed and we wanted to use as many different sources as we could. And of course, when you do that, that comes with error, potentially. All right? But in spite of that, this is a pretty good model, given everything that we brought to the table. Now, with this model, okay, we can generate a map of biomass within the LiDAR data. Next. Oh, this is just the same plot colored by ecoregion. You can see that there is really no discernible pattern in the model where ecoregion is concerned, which is a relatively good thing. Next. Okay, I want to give you an example now of how we map biomass. And we're going to focus right here. This is part of our acquisition in Jalisco. So focus right here. Next. All right. So for that particular location, this is what the orthophoto looks like. You can see a forested hillside here. You can see some agricultural fields. These agricultural fields are separated by hedgerows, by rows of trees. Here is the digital terrain model, okay, which is something we can get directly from the LiDAR. Okay. Very easily, we can derive digital terrain models from the LiDAR. Here is a map of canopy height from 0 to 18 meters. You can see the tallest trees are in these moisture valleys, shown here in green. You can see the hedgerows show up very nicely. You can even see different heights in the individual trees of the hedgerows. Okay, so lots of detail here. And then here's our map of biomass. Now in this example, we're mapping biomass at, I believe, 50 meters. Ultimately, we're going to map biomass at 30 meters, but this is actually a little bit coarser. Okay, you can see the individual pixels. This is much higher resolution. This is close to 1 meter. This is 50 meters, and you can see the relationship between the canopy height map and biomass. Where we have these hedgerows, you can see the biomass values. They range from 0 to over 100 megagrams per hectare. You can see where we have dense forest here, we have high biomass. Out in the middle of these fields, you can see where there's no biomass. Okay, you can see this patch right here where the trees are relatively short. We have low biomass. Okay, so you can see the relationship between height and biomass as we would expect. Okay, and we can do this for the entire LiDAR acquisition across the whole country. Hartso data, and the G-Lite. Next. Here's an example of what that looks like for the Yucatan acquisition. Maps of biomass, you can see the individual plots that went into producing the model, the 671 plot model. Okay? So we can generate these relatively high resolution maps of biomass for the entire acquisition. Okay? And we can stop there if we want. Okay, if we want, we can just stop there. But as I discussed earlier, what we now are looking to do is using these maps as part of a second model to produce wall-to-wall data. Okay? And that's what Alessandro is going to be talking about this afternoon, the next step. Taking these results and turning them into wall-to-wall maps, where we have effectively, as Ali mentioned, a census of biomass. Okay? Next. All right. I want to talk about a couple of other accomplishments as part of this initiative before I wrap up. In addition to acquiring these data and analyzing them and producing hopefully some useful products, we also conducted some training workshops, 2 of them specifically, one in Durango and one in Merida, in collaboration with the U.S. Forest Service. The purpose here was obviously to work with folks like yourselves and others in the country, academics, folks from NGOs, to better understand these data and how they might be applied in Mexico. Next. Next. This is the workshop we held in Durango. Some 20 participants across 13 different organizations, including a number of government organizations. Next. Here was our workshop in Merida, 25% participants. Again, a number of different organizations represented. Next. In addition to the training and the scientific analysis, we also engaged in producing some outreach products to make the more general public aware of these data. We designed and distributed fact sheets and infographics. Next. Here is an example of one of our fact sheets. Next. Here's an infographic we produced, again, describing for the general public what LiDAR is, how it can be used. Next. And finally, and this is what Alessandro is going to talk about tomorrow, he's going to talk about how we've used these data to generate estimates of biomass and biomass change wall to wall for the country. Next. Next. Not going to dwell on that slide because that's what Alessandro is going to be talking about. Okay. So now before I wrap up, I want to talk about some future applications. Question.
Sería tan amable, ¿podría regresar a la presentación al slide donde está la regresión?
Yes. Go back several slides.
La regresión lineal.
Further. Another one. One more.
There are so nice, the relationships.
I hope to make it better.
Wow, it's pretty good. Es muy buena. Tiene un coeficiente de correlación cuadrático de 0.74. Aquí aplican algunos filtros, bueno, entendí que los bullets aquí arriba, sí, filtras como los datos, ¿no? Primero que el 100% del retorno de la señal sea mayor de 3 metros. ¿Podrías explicar un poquito cómo filtras los datos y qué manejo le das a los eventos extremos? Which is the management with the extreme events?
Okay, so let's go back another slide. One more. Okay. The key to working with LiDAR is first being able to generate these profiles, which is relatively simple. But then we have to turn this into useful information. We have to turn these profiles into variables. Variables, predictor variables, that we can use in a regression equation. Okay? And we call these variables metrics. Okay? They're metrics. And they are simply ways of describing what we see here. All right? Think of this as a function, and we want to describe it. So one variable might be the maximum height, the total height. And here it would be around 49 meters. Okay? Think of that as one metric, one variable. For this plot, 49 meters. For this plot, 35. For this one, 19, 22, and so on. That's just one variable. But we can come up with other variables. We can say, okay, what is the height of the first peak from the top? Here it's at 32. Here, if you consider that a peak, it's about 32 also. Here it's at 12. Here it's at 17. Okay? Now we have two metrics. One metric might be the area under the curve in each case. Okay? So that's a third metric. And there are hundreds of these. We can keep going. We come up with these different ways of describing what is here in this profile. Right? And those are variables. Those are variables that we can then use in a regression analysis. So we have a software that produces these metrics. And they're very common, they're in the literature, and there's literally like 100 of them. Okay? Now go back to the plot of the next one. So here we used a stepwise approach to select from among those 100 variables the ones that were most important, the ones that explain the variable. The majority of the variability in biomass across these plots. Okay? And here are these four. And some of them are a little complex. Okay? For example, the height 40, what is that? Okay, let's go back to the profile. Oh, no, forward. Yeah, right there. Okay? What is height 40? Well, height 40 is the height at which 40%, we see 40% of the returns. Okay, we can divide this entire profile into quantiles, we can divide it many different ways. But for example, height 40 is where we see 40% of the returns. So that's another metric. Okay, and like I said, there's many, many of these. All right, go back to the equation.
Which one?
This one. In some of these, it can get quite complex, mathematically speaking. This is all returns greater than 3 meters divided by all returns times 100. Okay? By itself, it doesn't mean much intuitively, but it's another way of describing that profile and extracting information from it. All right? So these were the four metrics that were deemed most important by the regression analysis. And those were the ones that we used to generate this model. Now, we're not always going to use these four, right? If we work in a different region, if we include more field plots, if we change anything about this, it's possible that these four might not be the same four. Maybe there'll be six, and maybe they'll be different. It all depends on the calibration data, right? Depends on the calibration data. So this is one model, and these are the predictor variables associated with this one model. They're not always going to be the same, depending on the analysis we're running. If we change the inputs, if we change anything about the analysis, those will also change. Does that answer your question? A little bit? We can talk more if you like. Okay, so I want to spend a few minutes now talking about future applications. I've given you one example of what we do with the LiDAR data, and this afternoon, Alessandro is going to extend that example. Okay? He's going to show us how to take these data and turn them into wall-to-wall information. Okay? But I want to emphasize, this is just one thing we can do with the LiDAR data. Next. So what else can we do? What might the future be of LiDAR data in Mexico? Well, as I've suggested, we can take these data together with INFIS, okay, and generate more information for more of the country, okay? Go from a sample to a census, as Alessandro described. Okay, that's one thing that we could potentially do. Second, next. Change anything. I've already shown you how we can use the data to extrapolate measurements to unsampled locations. This afternoon, like I said, he's going to do that for the whole country. And this, of course, is important when we're talking about remote and inaccessible regions. From a research standpoint, you can imagine there's all sorts of things that can be done with data like this, where forest structure, biodiversity is concerned. Okay? It's not just necessarily about mapping basal area or volume or biomass. Next. In terms of applications for RED+, okay, we can use these data to improve emission factors, again, because we're going from a sample to a census. Next. We can do things like evaluate logging and degradation impacts in various parts of the country with data like this, because we have such detailed information about the forest structure. And we can do things like explore biomass change, net emissions estimation. Again, Ali will talk more about that. So in summary, I would just say that while airborne LiDAR data can be expensive to acquire, when combined with high-quality field data, it is the highest quality 3D remote sensing data now available for forest measurement and monitoring applications. It's being used all over. These applications are numerous. The U.S. Forest Service FIA program is now using it in places like Alaska to supplement their forest inventory system. You can see based on these point clouds the sort of information that you can extract, okay, from these 3D models, these detailed 3D models. It's very powerful. It's not a replacement for the INFIS system, but it can be used together with the INFIS system to provide more and better information at the national level for all sorts of forestry-related applications. And so as our work together potentially moves forward in the context of MRED, we would like to think about how we might be able to work with you to integrate LiDAR data of the sort that we now have for Mexico. And we have great LiDAR data for Mexico across the entire country if you count these various acquisitions. It is a very representative sample in terms of LiDAR. And so we'd like to think about moving forward how we could work together, potentially to do some tests, okay? To think about what can be done to demonstrate further the utility of LiDAR data for conifer, for forestry applications. And as I mentioned, there's a whole range of them, not just biomass, right? So with that, next. I thank you for listening. Thank you for all your good questions. And I appreciate your attention. And if you have any more questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Thank you. I was thinking, estaba pensando en la última diapositiva, el futuro de esta tecnología de vida. Y solamente, pues, quizás, si tiene conocimiento de que se pretende lanzar un satélite para la estimación de biomasa. ¿Cuál es el futuro en términos de disminuir los costos de las adquisiciones de imágenes LiDAR hacia el futuro? ¿Cuáles son las expectativas?
Okay. That's a great question. Well, first of all, in part of your question, earlier part of your question, you mentioned a satellite being put up for biomass estimation. Can you? I'm not sure I understood you correctly. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you were referring to with the satellite?
Entiendo que es una cooperación entre la NASA, las agencias espaciales de Japón, de la Agencia Espacial Europea y otras iniciativas que tienen el objetivo de lanzar un satélite que pueda estar midiendo la biomasa.
Yes, that is true. That is true. There is a mission that's being developed. It's actually based on radar technology. Okay, so it's a different sort of technology from LiDAR. And for large areas, at least in theory, it will be able to produce estimates of above ground biomass. Now, this is a relatively new, this will be a new satellite, new data based on relatively new technology. So it's hard for me to speak to what my expectations are for that particular system. I certainly think it will be valuable. How valuable, I can't say. Will it be able to produce detail like this? No, it's certainly not designed for that. It is not a LiDAR, and it's not going to give you anything like this at all. But for large area mapping, I suspect it will be quite useful. Okay? I think when it comes to talking about satellite data versus LiDAR data, particularly airborne LiDAR data, or LiDAR data collected by UAVs, I think one of the powerful aspects of airborne LiDAR data and potentially UAV LiDAR data is that you have the power to collect the data wherever you want. We will always have airplanes, and we will always have LiDAR sensors to put on those airplanes. The powerful aspect of LiDAR UAV, this talked about this satellite data wherever you want. It will have a lifetime. Okay? It will be launched let's say 2020, and maybe it lasts for 5 years, maybe it lasts for 8 years, and during that period, of course, you can make use of that. But this is a technology that certainly provides better information. It does cost money, but it is in your hands to spend that money how you wish, in terms of you can design your own sampling strategy. You can fly as much of the country or as little of the country as you like. These days, unfortunately, even when it comes to satellite data, not all of it is free anyway. A lot of it is, but not necessarily all of it. So what LiDAR gives you is a lot of flexibility. Okay, a lot of flexibility that you don't, and the possibility to think longer term. Because I think airborne LiDAR technology will always be there now. Now we have it, and as long as we have airplanes that will fly, we can collect it. So there's nothing stopping us 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and it's probably only going to get better. Whereas satellites, there's more uncertainty there. They might be here today, but they might be gone tomorrow, we don't know. So from an investment point of view, I feel like LiDAR technology, in the context of an organization like Conifor, where your mandate is to monitor Mexico's forests and to do that as well as possible, I think there's little question that this technology provides you with the best tool to do that. Now, I understand it's costly, but I think there are ways, of course, to manage that cost. So I guess that's what I would say. I'll let you add on that. Question?
Bueno, hay algo que no estoy entendiendo completamente. Creo que es parte de la exposición que va a hacer Alessandro Bacchini como parte de la presentación del mapa de cambios de biomasa. Pero yo no sé si nos pudieran adelantar ahorita un poco, al menos de manera muy general, los principios de cómo se genera este mapa, en base a mi siguiente pregunta. Estos modelos de regresión que nos mostraron, entiendo que relacionan los datos de campo con los vuelos, los transectos LiDAR. Pero, ¿qué pasa con lo que no ocurre en LiDAR? Que creo que es el siguiente paso para hacer el mapa wall-to-wall, que es con las áreas que están fuera de los transectos LiDAR. Yo creo que esto que nos mostraron es cómo relacionan un punto del inventario nacional forestal con el transecto y el área que está fuera del punto, ¿no? Pero ahora, lo que está fuera de lo que cubre el LiDAR, supongo que forzosamente se deben utilizar variables de sensores remotos, no sé, el NDVI, o qué otros variables o criterios utilizan. ¿Cuál es el principio general? Porque entonces siempre vamos a seguir dependiendo de los sensores remotos. Ya, digo, es como claro.
Okay, good question. And yes, Alessandro is going to make everything clear. I know it. But in the meantime, you're absolutely right. I talked about this piece, just as you described it, taking the field data, relating it to the LiDAR, and generating maps at the scale of the LiDAR transects. Okay? Now, what we want to do is make wall-to-wall maps. We want to have information everywhere. Okay? We want a census. So yes, we are reliant on another data set. Okay? And our philosophy there is to always try to use freely available data that we have an expectation is going to be around. Okay? So, Ali's going to talk to you about two examples. One using MODIS data and one using Landsat data. All right? Landsat data, of course, is our longest record, going back to the 70s. I have no reason to anticipate that it won't extend into the future. MODIS is also a platform that has been highly reliable, coarser resolution, but also a scale of data that I think we might be able to count on having in some form freely available into the future, at least we hope. So, we're researchers, we don't want to pay for data either, okay? So, what Ali's going to do is talk to you about how we now take the biomass estimates from the LiDAR transects, okay, and use those now in a different model as calibration data, okay, generating another model that relates these data, the result of this process, okay, generates a new model to predict in all those other unsampled locations, in all the places where the LiDAR didn't fly. So it's a two-step scaling process. Field to LiDAR, LiDAR to wherever we want to go, the globe, if you like. So that's the process. And yeah, he will fill in the details. I know there's great anticipation. Other questions? In the back, yes, sir.
En tu experiencia, bueno, ahí en la oficina estoy trabajando con la parte de las áreas de difícil acceso. El problema que yo tengo con las áreas de difícil acceso es que no están distribuidas, digamos, de forma homogénea en el país, sino que por diferentes condiciones tienden a agruparse. Entonces, llegan a formar grandes regiones, por ejemplo, la mitad de un estado, o dos parcelas, ¿no? En tu experiencia, ¿cuál ha sido, digamos, el tamaño y las dimensiones de las parcelas de calibración que tú usas para el LiDAR? Y si tratas de distribuirlos de cierta forma dentro de estas áreas.
Good question.
This one?
Yep.
Okay.
Show that, please. Okay, this you might be familiar with. Yep. So I think, can you show it?
I'm trying.
Oh, sorry. So I think, and you can tell, you know this better than I do, but I think the areas in yellow are some of the trouble spots, is that right? Yeah. Okay. So let's take this example, right? Obviously, when we flew the LiDAR, we didn't have access to this, okay? And we weren't therefore able to take advantage of this. But you could imagine a strategy, okay, a focused strategy, wherein we rely on INFIS everywhere else, but in these places, we use more of a LiDAR strategy, okay? Now, hopefully, in these inaccessible areas don't contain entire forest types, for example, or entire ecoregions. Because, for example, this is quite a large area, right? Because we need calibration data, all right? And if we can only fly LiDAR data here, but we can't go into the field, we still need to be able to use calibration data from outside of the region to predict what's going on in the LiDAR. So you can imagine, though, all right, designing a strategy around these inaccessible areas where inside of the yellow boundaries, the focus is on the LiDAR. Everywhere else, the reliance is placed on the INFIS, and you use the INFIS where you have it. You use the LiDAR where you have it, and you use the INFIS to calibrate the LiDAR in the places where you don't have the field data. So I don't know if that answers all the questions, but if there was another part to it, please repeat it. But I can imagine a strategy like that.
Estamos tratando de generar un modelo utilizando datos de campo para llenar esos vacíos de información. Entonces, supongamos que, no sé, Chihuahua, por ejemplo. Supongamos que todo es bosque de pino. Utilizamos datos de otros estados que también son de bosque de pino para imputar al interior de Chihuahua. Y utilizamos rangos como variables ambientales. Y si hay buena correlación, digamos, asumimos que es la información que está afuera va a ser lo mismo que está dentro de Chihuahua.
Absolutely.
Entonces, ahorita el siguiente paso que me gustaría hacer es, con la información que tienes de biomasa, tratar de utilizarla como un calibrador y ver si hay alguna correlación con lo que estamos generando nosotros.
Right? That would be very interesting.
Ahorita lo estamos tratando de hacer, digamos, a nivel país, considerando que es un esquema nacional. El siguiente paso es tratar de reducir la incertidumbre e irnos a una escala regional. ¿Por qué? Porque a nivel nacional el estrato es homogéneo, pero a nivel regional ese estrato realmente es heterogéneo. Entonces, por ejemplo, ese es en el caso de los manglares, a nivel nacional se tratan iguales. Pero si tú te vas a una escala regional, esos manglares realmente son bastante heterogéneos. Entonces, la idea es tratar de predecir primero nacional, regional, y tener una serie de parcelas distribuidas, ya sea dirigidas o no, para utilizarlas como calibración y reducir, digamos, los costos de ir a campo.
Note that what you describe and what you're already doing is exactly the sort of strategy I think I'm talking about. Trying to use the data that you have to smartly overcome these limitations imposed by accessibility and so forth. And so what I'm suggesting is simply the possibility of adding a LiDAR component to it. And you can see with the LiDAR data, obviously, the range of different variables, the range of different information you could extract from it in these places where you can't go on the ground. And so I would simply offer to consider integrating airborne LiDAR data into what it sounds like you're already doing, essentially. Because I think what you described is exactly the way to try to overcome this problem. And I have no doubt that with what you're doing already, you're going to have some level of success. The question is, can you do even better? And I think you probably can with the LiDAR. Yes.
Quería agregar un punto al comentario de Sergio. En este proyecto de lanzamiento del satélite para medir biomasa, se requiere información de campo que tenga tanto la parte del inventario, de los inventarios forestales, como vuelos de LiDAR o vuelos que permitan generar una mejor aproximación para generar estos modelos. Entonces, aquí en este taller que tuvo lugar el año pasado, aquí lo recomendable es que tú tengas un censo total de toda la línea que se vuela con el LIDAR o con otros sensores. De manera, ellos hablan de super sites, o sitios de muy alta calidad de información que te permita generar una muestra de primero generación del modelo y un super site para validar el modelo. En líneas generales, no sé si el INFIS como tal no aplica porque no tienes el censo total de todo lo que vuela el líder. Y tiene que ser como sitios de 100%, básicamente, y tienes que levantar absolutamente todo para poder generar esta información que te permita llegar a estos modelos. Bueno, esa fue la experiencia en este taller de NASA que probablemente, no sé si quiera agregar al doctor Guardo alguna información.
If you like, with who is involved, with who are you working from the NASA side?
Están involucrados varias personas, no recuerdo exactamente su nombre, es un apellido hindú, y están trabajando en coordinación con la agencia japonesa, la agencia espacial europea, NASA y otras iniciativas de medición de biomas a nivel mundial. Pero le puedo conseguir el nombre, porque justo ahorita no lo tengo a la mano.
So I just would like to briefly add so these missions, yes, so there are a couple of missions actually that are based on radar data, and this is one, the biomass mission. But I think before that mission will go up, there is going to be, if everything if they don't change it, a LiDAR mission that's called JEDI. JEDI, that it's a US-based initiative. And this is a LiDAR mission. And this is going to be free. The data are going to be free. And the data are supposed to be of very good quality to do biomass work. Even before that, there is going to be ISAT-2, that is another LiDAR satellite from NASA that is also going to be free. That one in a very dense tropical forest, there are questions how well it's going to work, but for many parts of Mexico, it could work pretty well. So, but all those initiatives, they will require field data. There is no satellite that right now, without calibration, with field data, is able to tell you what the virus is. And LiDAR is a way to try sort of to minimize the costs and the issues with accessibility of the field data to provide a lot of calibration data. Because when you fly the LiDAR, that's street. You can have so many samples out of that street. Right. So what you can think about is design a LiDAR flight strategy that is based on a stratified sample approach that will sample all different vegetation type structure that you have in the country. You don't really need wall-to-wall. I mean, wall-to-wall LiDAR for the countries like Mexico.
And just following on what Alessandro's saying, I mean, this is essentially a stratified approach. We stratified it based on our own strata, okay? But, for example, you could imagine developing your own stratification of the country, your own acquisition strategy for the country that incorporates that map of inaccessibility, for example, okay? So that the acquisition is perhaps more focused there in places where you can't get to easily with the influence, okay? So you can think about taking something like what we've done, which is pretty good where forest is concerned, and further tweaking it to meet your own specific agency monitoring needs, okay? Optimize it from a cost standpoint, optimize it from a information gathering standpoint, optimize it from any number of different points of view to get out of it what you need. Other questions? Not? I hand the floor back to MC.
Thank you. Pues bueno, creo que lo que acaban de plantear, Sergio, es de importancia para nosotros, para pensar en el futuro cercano, ¿no? Esta campaña de adquisición de datos LIDAR, el kilómetro cuadrado costó $400. Si pensamos, o sea que es alto el costo, pero si pensamos en la solución que va a proveer al INPI para hacerlo más robusto, creo que la inversión no es mucha, ¿no? Obviamente habría que hacer un cálculo a nivel país y ver cuál es el costo-beneficio de extrapolar este tipo de estrategias. Pero pues uno de los mensajes claves de esta iniciativa es que haya una discusión interna en la CONAPOC sobre la viabilidad, si le encuentran sentido este tipo de tecnología, y pensar en una estrategia conjunta en el corto plazo. ¿Ustedes ven esto como una posibilidad viable? ¿Les interesa? ¿Creen que no es la solución?
Bueno, o sea, digo, a expensas de que haya una discusión mucho más fuerte al interior. Lo que sí te puedo decir es que, digamos, tenemos que llenar vacíos de información, ¿no? O sea, el parte del trabajo que estamos realizando es también ver las tendencias de inaccesibilidad a nivel nacional. Entonces, estamos haciendo un recuento desde que iniciamos en el 2004 hasta la actualidad, porque las causas de inaccesibilidad han sido diferentes, ¿no? Entonces, lo que estamos tratando de hacer es que teníamos una clasificación muy general de inaccesibilidad, pero ahorita la estamos subclasificando. Entonces, esa subclasificación nos va a poder permitir decidir si realmente, o sea, no se hizo un esfuerzo inicial para poder entrar, o si realmente no se puede entrar. Entonces, ya de ahí partimos para definir las áreas que realmente son inaccesibles. Entonces, el siguiente paso es ver cómo están distribuidas. Pueden ser 2 parcelas en medio de un mar de accesibilidad, o realmente una agrupación de parcelas, sí que puede llegar a ser medio estado, un cuarto estado, por ejemplo. Y con la tendencia podemos ver que a lo mejor en el siguiente ciclo no va a poder ser medido. Entonces, a partir de ahí, lo que estamos haciendo es explorar diferentes iniciativas. Entonces, una iniciativa primero era trabajar con los datos tabulares, los datos de la base de datos, y ver cómo podemos llenar ese vacío. La siguiente es cómo con esos datos de campo podemos cruzarlo con sensores remotos o otro tipo de tecnología. Y si, digamos, la correlación sigue siendo muy buena, mi intención es tratar de reducir costos, en el sentido de enviar brigadas a campo y tratar de usar más sensores remotos en combinación con lo que tenemos en campo. Y la idea es que estas parcelas a lo largo del tiempo sean nada más parcelas de calibración. Y tal vez manejar parcelas temporales en donde, digamos, dentro de un área inaccesible, la dinámica es muy alta. Sí, porque la idea es que estas parcelas de calibración permanezcan en el tiempo en áreas que son homogéneas o que no cambian mucho, digamos. Y tratar de buscar esas estrategias, ¿no? Entonces me llamaba la atención los vuelos, porque algunos sí cubren las zonas que tenemos, pero hay otras donde no. Por ejemplo, el caso de Chimalapas, que está entre Chiapas, Oaxaca y Veracruz. Todo eso es un gran vacío. Entonces Entonces, lo que estábamos planteando era terminar este ejercicio tabular y nosotros mismos ir al campo y tratar de remediar alguna de las parcelas que están ahí dentro para tratar de fijar precisamente unas posibles líneas de vuelo. Y también definir qué tan heterogéneo o homogéneo es ese estrato, ¿no? Lamentablemente, no tenemos mucho conocimiento, bueno, en lo personal yo no tengo mucho conocimiento sobre el AIDA y pues me estoy apoyando básicamente en el área que con Miguel. Y estamos tratando de utilizar, de ver qué variables también de campo podemos utilizar en combinación con el AIDA. Y pues ese sería el ejercicio a discusión, ¿no?
¿Podrías comentarnos un poco más sobre esta subclasificación de las razones de inaccesibilidad?
Sí, mira, por ejemplo, cuando inició el inventario, básicamente decían, hay dos tipos de inaccesibilidad, social y natural. Entonces, social podría ir desde no me dieron permiso hasta la presencia de guerrilla. Natural, desde la pendiente está muy empinada, por ejemplo, 45 grados, 100%, hasta una inundación, un incendio forestal bastante grande, o simplemente una distancia, no había caminos, por ejemplo. Entonces lo que hicimos fue crear una subclasificación de 12 tipos. Básicamente, a grandes rasgos son cuestiones físicas, cuestiones sociales. Las sociales las dividimos en sociopolíticos, ahí está todo lo que es guerrilla, narco, conflictos agrarios, cuestiones de idioma, usos y costumbres. Y también, por ejemplo, tenemos la clasificación natural va desde zonas de riesgos volcánicos, incendios forestales, inundaciones o crecientes, por ejemplo. ¿Sí? En ese sentido es lo que estamos tratando de clasificar. Y lo que hacemos es que realizamos un análisis más profundo para ver qué tan certera es la información, y eso es lo que usamos con conocimiento experto. La ventaja que tenemos es que, por lo menos algunos compañeros y del área de nosotros, ya recorrimos todo el país. Entonces, realmente sí conocemos cómo está la situación, la tendencia. El último criterio es el criterio experto, básicamente.
Y entonces, en este sentido, cabría la posibilidad de generar estrategias distintas dependiendo de estas subclasificaciones. Obviamente, en el tema político no hay mucho que hacer, pero en el tema de idioma, por ejemplo, o conflictos agrarios, pues sí pueden haber estrategias conjuntas de que se les capacite a estas comunidades para que ellos mismos hagan estas medidas, etcétera, ¿no? ¿Tú consideras eso viable para el próximo ciclo del inventario?
Sí, digo, sin sonar pedante, o sea, realmente aquí la clave es el contacto que tú tengas con un tercero. Esa es la clave, ¿no? Por ejemplo, hay zonas donde Chimalapas, hay zonas donde Conafor no entra. ¿Por qué? Porque es gobierno y representa una institución que no se quiere. Pero hace poco logramos entrar porque tenemos un contacto, sí, que a su vez nos contactó con otra persona y tuvimos acceso a uno de los lugares más difíciles dentro de Chimalapas. Entonces, digamos, creo que todo tiene que ver con la forma de comunicación con la gente y ubicar ese contacto. Y incluso, por ejemplo, en zonas sociopolíticas donde hay presencia de guerrilla, o sea, todo tiene que ver ese contacto tercero. Entonces, si ese tercero nos permite entrar y negociar, por ejemplo, levantar una parcela de calibración, sí, para nosotros ya fue un logro. ¿Por qué? Porque sabemos, o sea, conocemos el área y podemos decidir exactamente dónde poner esas parcelas. Y ya cuando definitivamente no tenemos ese tercero, o definitivamente ya ese tercero nos dice, sabes que aquí no se puede, entonces ya podemos establecer otra estrategia.
Gracias. ¿Algo querés comentar, Fernando? ¿No? ¿Alguien más te gustaría compartir alguna inquietud sobre las distintas áreas en las que trabajan y cómo podríamos también solventar así esa información con este tipo de tecnología?
Sobre todo para lo que nos sirve es para lo que son los inventarios de combustibles. Sin embargo, los diseños es muy dinámico, necesitamos información muy particular. Entonces, sí es una gran área que se cubre y es un área importante, sin embargo, gran parte de nuestros incendios ocurren bueno, el resto de la República. Entonces, sí, nosotros necesitaríamos mayor cobertura. Nos puede servir mucho para lo que son los inventarios de combustibles, para saber exactamente, como te vienen los diferentes estratos de altura, nosotros podríamos ver, digamos, la facilidad de que un incendio se convierta rápidamente de copa o no, dependiendo de los estratos que las imágenes de vida nos muestran. Sin embargo, como los incendios son casos muy particulares, requeriríamos información muy particular de zonas que no están incluidas. Por el momento, lo que aprecio, no sé mi compañero.
Bueno, complementando lo de Tania, en el caso de incendios forestales, ahorita con el cambio de supresión en el manejo del fuego, lo que nos interesa sobre todo es medir cómo se comporta ciertos ecosistemas después del paso del fuego. En este caso, por ejemplo, con el inventario, que ya son remediciones, con las imágenes LIDAR, más adelante podríamos ver cómo se están comportando los ecosistemas a nivel región, sobre todo ecosistemas dependientes, sensibles, independientes al fuego, y todo eso, pues bueno, nos va a ayudar a justificar, de cierta manera, los tratamientos que se le pueden dar a ciertos tipos de ecosistemas con la aplicación del fuego. Pero sí, sería un trabajo mucho más, en dado caso, mucho más regionalizado, sobre todo por tipo de ecosistema.
Sí, para el área de sanidad, pues estamos trabajando ahorita lo que son los mapas de riesgo y estamos básicamente trabajamos con reflectividad. Entonces, por lo que yo entendí de LIDAR, pues maneja estructura, ¿no? O sea, no maneja cambios de coloración, por ejemplo, en la vegetación, que es lo que nosotros trabajamos básicamente o requerimos, ¿no? Porque cuando, por ejemplo, hay el ataque de un descortezador, que es el más visible, pues inmediatamente se detecta ese cambio en la vegetación, pero es un cambio en coloración, ¿no? Entonces, igual, pues, tengo la duda, no sé si el sensor, bueno, lo mida, mide ese tipo de cambios o está basado solamente en la estructura, como mencionaban en la altura, ¿no? Se podría también a lo mejor utilizar en cuanto a la evaluación después de un tratamiento, o sea, el comportamiento de la estructura de la vegetación después de la aplicación de un tratamiento de una plaga o una enfermedad.
So, I think that if you are interested in colors, there are cheaper and easier ways to drive. Pretty much any optical sensor is able to give you what I think you need. And you don't need to actually do that. And the data free, now with Lancet 8, there are very good quality data at the resolution that for a model like yours, I think could be enough. If you want to go higher, you can always go to Spot, you can go to Rapida, and things like that. If such a measure of changes in colors. But I'm curious to know a little bit more, I mean, why do we need changes in colors? I think in one way, a plague, a disaster, is something like that. I don't know why you need to change in colors and not changing tree density, changing vegetation type, changes in the vegetation's, in the structure of the vegetation. And it's just like, because when you talk about color, it's really like more green or less green, right, for the vegetation.
Bueno, el cambio de la coloración es como un síntoma, más bien es un síntoma preventivo, donde todavía se puede realizar algo, el control. ya un cambio en la estructura, pues ya son los árboles muertos, ¿no? Ya es el ataque pues completo, ¿no? Ya no hay mucho que hacer. Entonces la detección de un cambio en la coloración del follaje es temprano, pues, o sea, es el ataque en un determinado lugar e inmediatamente ir para que el mismo no se expanda, ¿no? Es ir y controlar. Entonces, eso es lo que es preventivo, pues, por así decirlo. El otro ya sería demasiado tarde.
¿Y en la actualidad qué insumo utilizan para detectar el color?
Imágenes. Y lo que menciona, o sea, el Landsat está libre.
Bueno, ¿alguna otra intervención?
Bueno, primero que nada, quiero agradecer por esta excelente presentación y por los alcances que ha tenido este trabajo. Al respecto, quisiera consultar cuál es el costo de poder hacer este tipo de vuelos de una manera rutinaria, con la cual podamos aprovechar esta información y estos métodos para ciertas áreas que, por ejemplo, el inventario donde no puede acceder, no puede acceder las brigadas de cambio.
En un momento, para esta adquisición, el costo por kilómetro cuadrado fue de $400. Fueron $700,000. Es bastante dinero. Lo que hemos estado pensando, incluso platicando a veces en alguna ocasión con el ingeniero Betancourt, consistiría en que la Conacor haga un convenio de cooperación con la Sedena para en sus aeronaves montar los sensores. Y mientras ellos están patrullando en distintos sectores del país, pues que de paso se utilicen los sensores, que obviamente tendrían alguna utilidad, ¿no? Más allá de eso, abaratar el uso de la tecnología. Bueno, no sé si tú tienes una alternativa, pero creo que de momento no es algo que sepamos, ¿no?
I think it's difficult to sort of provide you with a quote, simply because at the end of the day, the cost varies a great deal by how much area you want to fly, what the distribution of those areas are, because at the end of the day, if you're hiring somebody to do it, or even if you're doing it, even if another, say, government agency is providing the aircraft, it comes down to fuel costs. And it comes down to how can you efficiently manage those costs. And that really relates to the flight plan. So it's difficult to provide just sort of a ballpark estimate. I would like to think you as CONAFOR, you as the Mexican government, would be in a position to, for example, negotiate a much better deal than we as MRED and USAID would be able to. So I would like to think that for you it would be much more inexpensive than for us. So I don't know that necessarily what we pay is a good starting point for thinking about it.
Thank you.
Bueno, pues muchas gracias por sus comentarios, por la presentación bastante ilustrativa. Y estamos muy bien en la agenda. En 20